as soon as I turn on my microphone. Call to order the June 2 meeting, June 2, 2026 of the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District. Would you all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Vice President Pateo,
Here.
Director Keelhold,
Yes.
Director Longville, Director Velasquez,
Present.
and President Harrison.
Present.
We have a quorum. The board is present.
Thank you very much. All right. Now's the time in our agenda for public comment. Members of the public may address the board regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. However, no action may be taken on off-agenda items except as authorized by law. Each speaker is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Mr. Chair, I have received one request to speak. Mr. George Hansen, who would like to make a public comment on item 4.2.
Would you rather wait until we get to 4.2? Yes, sir. Thank you. We will do that. All right. Are there any other online or in the audience that would like to make any comments? You can't, Stephanie. I'm sorry. You have to just keep quiet. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone online or anything. All right.
Nothing seen, sir.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2 is a closed session. We have that as one of the first things on our agenda due to certain necessities. And we'll ask our legal counsel to take us into our closed session.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, the board will be going to closed session for public employee appointment, special counsel.
All right, thank you. We'll come back as soon as we can. It depends on how long some people talk.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Whoops. Hello. Got it. Thank you for your patience. We're back in open session again. We'll ask our legal counsel to,
We have no reportable action from the closed session, Mr. President.
thank you. We'll move ahead to item 3 on our agenda. Item 3 is requires a public hearing. So we will now open the public hearing and we'll move ahead with our presentation. Adekunle? Thank you.
Thank you, President Harrison. As indicated on the slide, every 5 years, each water district in the state of California, every water agency that serves more than 3,000 connections or provide more than 3,000 acre feet is required to prepare an urban water management plan. And that has been the case since 1983. And the plan is due to the state on July 1st. The plan includes several elements that I'm going to walk you through. One of those is service area, land use changes, and population growth. And before I continue, the nature of the plan is that the plan covers about 20 to 25 year time frame. So 2025 through 2030, that's the medium term, 5 year, and then the 2030 to 2050 time frame, which is the 20-year timeline. So the population of our service area will grow to about 700. From currently, the population of our service area is about 734,000, and it's projected to increase to 806,000 in 2040, and ultimately to around 847,000 in 2050. And I also want to point out that this population projection is lower than when the plan was done 5 years ago. So our population projection continue to go a little bit down each planning cycle. Along with the land use changes and population growth is water demand. The water demand is projected to increase by 17,000 acre feet each, a year in number of years between 2030 and 2050. Another way to look at that is that our water demand is going to be relatively flat between now and 2030. And from around 2030 to 2050, it will increase by about 17,000. And that 17,000 increase is only for water district, water suppliers within the San Bernardino Valley service area. The city of Riverside and the plaintiff parties pump out from San Bernardino Basin, and that demand is not included in that projected demand. And that 17,000 acre feet a year increase is outside the existing supplies. So the increase in demand will be met by planned projects that are outlined in the plan. We assume that about 2,000 acre feet a year of that increased demand will be met by stormwater capture project, and that of the list of the stormwater capture project, one will come on stream once every 5 years. So San Bernardino Valley, as well as the Water Conservation District, have a lot to do in the next couple of years to make sure that we have one of those projects planned, funded, constructed by 2030, 2035, 2040 to be able to meet that 17,000 acre feet increase. We expect about 3,000 of that acre feet a year to come from Stillwater project water that's recharged at Cactus Basin. And the remaining 11,000 to 12,000 will be met from various sources, including imported water, additional stormwater water capture, recycled water investment by the city of Redlands, city of San Bernardino, and some of our other retailers, as well as San Bernardino Valley. So the increase in demand will be met by additional investment. And the plan also recognized that the biggest threat, to our reliability and availability of water supplies come from extreme heat, drought duration and intensity, and wildfire. Wildfire especially, is a significant concern for local surface water supply as well as groundwater recharge. Other elements, of the plan includes, the scenarios that I'm going to talk about, shortly, as well as the water shortage contingency plan, which will be adopted as a standalone document. And the reason being that, that is a short-term document. It allows us to change if there's a need, to address changing conditions. And the plan also addresses our demand management and water conservation program. This plan includes San Bernardino Valley as well as 8 other water suppliers within the service area. However, the water supply reliability scenarios include every of the water supplier within the service area, even though they might not be participating in the plan. In a normal year scenario, in a typical year, we expect to be able to meet all the demands of the water producers within the San Bernardino Valley service area. This was shown at the May 19th board workshop where we previewed this item. In a typical year, the supplies far exceeds the demand. The caveat being that there's always some variability within those supplies. So if there's a wildfire and local surface water diminishes, you're meeting some of that demand through imported water or groundwater. So even though everything looks static, it's always moving. And actually, before I move on, part of the assumption is that in a typical year, retailers are buying imported water and storing it for future use. In a dry year scenario, supplies are still sufficient to meet demand. However, the buffer shrinks, which again is an indication that the region has to invest in additional supplies to have a bigger buffer. We experienced this in 2021, 2022, where we had drought at the state, on the Stillwater project, as well as drought, within the region, and we had to switch to groundwater, the previously stored imported water, to meet demand. One of the assumptions is that in dry years, especially starting in around 2040, it will be great, if we have access to sites to be able to bring in additional imported water to help us navigate multiple dry years. And then to be able to, again, survive those dry years, these are how the region plans to meet those additional reliability needs as well as increased demand. So Redlands plan to do additional recycled water. The city of San Bernardino intends to do tertiary treatment phase 2. We have Sites Reservoir in there, and then the stormwater capture as well as imported water recharge to be able to meet those demands. So in summary, we have prepared this plan as a cooperative. We've collaborated to prepare this plan. We've sent out public notices. There was a 2 weeks public comment period. And in summary, it is very clear that groundwater, while it's the bedrock and the baseline for providing water within this region, it's not always sufficient in the long term. So we need recharge. And San Antonio Valley, as well as retailers, are investing in aquifer storage and recovery project, recycled water project, stormwater capture project, as well as on the Stillwater project system, to continue to recharge, the groundwater basins within a region. And then, for example, yesterday we heard about the hydro project that will help, to improve the reliability of local surface water. We heard about the West Valley Roma treatment plant, surface water treatment plant at BTAC yesterday. That provides flexibility to shift, from groundwater to imported water when available. So all this project together improves the reliability of water supply for our region. And I think that concludes my presentation on this public hearing.
Thank you, Adekunle. I failed to properly announce this public hearing. It's the public hearing on the 2025 San Bernardino Valley Regional Urban Water Management Plan and Water Storage Contingency Plan. Heather, do you have any comments on this?
Just for the record, you're now opening the public hearing following staff
Yes.
presentation.
Well, I am. I'll open the public hearing.
So I would say that we need to ask for any public comment during
Right.
the hearing.
I just wanted to know if you wanted any before we did that.
Thank you. He covered it well.
Okay. All right. Public hearing is open for anyone here or otherwise to give their input on this. And I believe George had his hand. Not this one.
This one.
Okay. All right. Are there any, is there anyone online or Madam Clerk, do you see anyone who wishes to comment on this?
Nothing seen, sir.
Okay. All right. There being no comments, I will close the public hearing. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it. And for the record, the public hearing was closed at 2:45 p.m. I don't know if I missed it. I was trying to find it in what you provided. Did you say that there would be time for questions from the public to be collected and collated? Did I imagine? I thought I heard that.
Yeah, there was a public comment period starting May 18th through June 1st.
Okay, perfect.
So 2-week public comment period.
And so did we receive any comment?
No.
Okay.
We got one phone call to ask, some questions about data center. And
I just wanted to make sure that that's part of the record because here's my issue is I know that these public hearings become routine. However, at the end of the day, somebody, the state in this case, may step in and say, can we see the record of your public hearing? Can we see if you did collect and collate public comments or any type of correspondence? So that's why I'm following it, because it sounds like we did everything. I just want to make sure that we have it somewhere and that we held our public hearing and we opened it at a certain time and we closed it at a certain time, because I don't want us to be out of compliance.
thank you for that question. We actually have to submit all the documentation along with the plan. We will
Great.
submit to the state, before July 1st.
Thank you, sir.
Every
Great,
notices, everything.
great person.
It's also responsibility of our legal counsel, and they're doing that.
Yeah, I just want to mention that one of the reasons why this, maybe we don't see a lot of people here to make a public comment, is that this is actually developed as a collaborative plan. So we've heard from the stakeholders throughout the process, so they're very satisfied with the final product. What is in front of the board to adopt is the 4 portions of the plan that applies to San Bernardino Valley. The part 1 is the regional context. If somebody want to know what are water sources, what is land use, what is population, that's where they'll find that. Part 2, that is the individual urban water management plan for the district. For example, the city of Redlands will be adopting their plan tonight. They will be adopting part 2, chapter 4. In this case, we're adopting part 2, chapter 1. Every agency will be adopting part 3 because it supports part 1. And then for us, at San Bernardino Valley, we're adopting part 4, chapter 1. And that is the action we're asking the board to take today, to adopt resolution 1202, that we adopt the regional urban water management plan. So that adopt the regional portion and the San Bernardino Valley urban water management plan, and we'll be able to submit that along with the documentation, the backup to the state, and then to separately adopt resolution 1203, that we adopt the water shortage contingency plan.
All right, so we have the 2 under item 4.1, we have the 2 resolutions. Resolution number 1202 and 1203. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have there any comments?
No comments, sir.
Okay. All right. How about the board? Any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Cooley, during the preparation of the plan, were there other opportunities for the public input?
Yes, we, at the start of the project, we sent out, our notice of preparation to indicate, to the county, to the cities and the public that this is taking place, and they encourage, to participate. This process does not, the state does not require for public forums beyond public hearings to be held for the plan.
Did we get input as a result of those notices?
Beyond, the land use agencies, no.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Questions? All right. We have several resolutions,
I move to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
right? We have a first and a second, motion and a second for the staff to approve the staff recommendation. Roll call, please. Madam Clerk.
Director Keelhold,
Yes.
Director Velasquez,
Yes.
Director Longville,
Yes. Yes.
Vice President Mateo,
Yes,
and President Harrison.
Yes,
The motion carries. The staff recommendation for 4.1 is approved.
Thank you.
thank you, Adekunle. And we'll move now to discussion item number 4.2, which is to consider the revised joint powers agreement for operation and maintenance of the Southern California Edison transferred hydropower facilities. This is found on page 226 of your agenda.
Mr. President, I will remind you that we have a public comment who would like to make his comment before
Yes,
our item.
please.
Thank you, Heather. Good afternoon, Valley District Board. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is George Hansen. I am the general manager of Bear Valley Mutual Water Company and also of Crafton Water Company. So I'm here representing two separate boards. I also have a couple Bear Valley board members here in the audience. Peter Buey, the vice president of the board, and then a board member, David Armstrong, are here in attendance. Wow, we're here. This is fantastic. I just wanted to commend the board for taking the bold step of entering into that asset purchase agreement so long ago. I want to also commend the board and Heather and her staff for continuing to march through this process of acquiring these facilities from Southern California Edison. Both Bear Valley and Crafton Water benefit from a reliable surface water supply. And that is exactly the reason. And it was very well put out of Coonley in your presentation. And I just wanted to grab onto that. That reliable surface water supply helps the folks who use that water down the hill. And our shareholders are very grateful to have those rights and to be part of this project, because when those hydro facilities operate correctly, which they have not operated correctly in a long time, we get a consistent, reliable supply of high quality, high elevation water. And that's why we're here and urging the board's support. Both the Crafton board and the Bear Valley board have approved the agreement that's in front of you guys today, and we'd recommend that you guys do that as well. So appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, George. All right. Any other speakers in the audience?
We don't have a speaker, but I did want to acknowledge Jared Cheek is here, the general manager of Big Bear Municipal Water District, who is also our partner in this venture. Jared, so I could just see you. Thanks.
Glad you're here. Thank you. All right, Leo.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, members of the board. After acknowledging our partner agencies and their general managers who are present here today, I will proceed with a brief presentation, including a very brief background. So we started the JPA agreement process back in August of 2025. And we have been in the discussions and reviewing subsequent versions of different drafts of the JPA agreement. And on December 16th, this board approved the JPA agreement. And just to kind of recap a couple of really high level things, the JPA is the purposes for the operation and maintenance of the transferred hydropower facilities through the SAWA, or Santa Ana Watershed Hydro Authority. And it's going to be its separate entity, meaning it's going to have a separate bank account, its own annual budget, its own board, expenses incurred, and will have the capability of entering into separate agreements with other entities as well. Some of the key elements for the JPA agreement have been consistent throughout the different versions we've been reviewing the last several months. One key note is that the JPA will become effective upon written notice from San Bernardino Valley to the other member agencies after SCE assets have been confirmed and transferred from SCE to San Bernardino Valley. And here we have the operating percentages shown that are the final version, and both our financial obligations and associated benefits are allocated equally all the way across. Some of the different updates that we have in this version that are a little bit different from the version you approved in December are clarification. So item number 1 The intent and is the same. It was there before and is still there now. It's just that it's further clarified that agencies may enter into separate agreements with outside contractors or agencies as authorized by their respective boards. And the JPA, once it's formed and running, the JPA board may also enter into agreements with outside agencies or contractors as needed to support the O&M of the facilities. One other change was the formal dispute resolution towards the end of the agreement. And the previous version had a binding arbitration, and now that was changed back to standard arbitration. So what that really means is that the member agencies retain the capability of seeking further litigation or judicial review if it came to that end. And lastly, the other change would be that the previous version had a stipulation that the East Administration Building that belongs to SCE right now was going to be purchased by the JPA. After discussion with the JPA members, we've changed that approach. So now, since that building is going to be occupied by our water operations staff and going to provide support for water operations as well as for hydro, we're going to be entering into a separate purchase agreement to buy that building on our own independently. And so that is not going to come out of the JPA budget or the transfer price. Now, some of the key items that kind of are ongoing and immediately following, you've heard Jared, the member agencies boards have already approved this agreement and within the last couple of weeks or so. And we're also working to schedule the first JPA board meeting and get working on that right away, hopefully towards the second or third week of July. And then we will also be coming back to the board here pretty soon to have an appointment for the operations committee. The operations committee of the JPA will have jurisdiction of technical matters, environmental permitting, and engineering and all of those things. And they're meant to be a working technical group to bring them up to the JPA board for consideration. With that, I will read the staff recommendation, and then that is that the Board of Directors consider approving the proposed revisions to the Joint Powers Agreement governing the operation and maintenance of the SCE transferred hydropower facilities discussed in detail, and authorize the CEO or general manager to execute the agreement, subject to any minor technical or non-substantive revisions as necessary.
Thank you, Leo. Appreciate that presentation. Are there any comments, questions from the?
Yes, through the chair.
Okay, let's just go down the line. Susan?
Yeah, I just wanted to have to confirm that when the JPA meetings are held, that the board members will also be advised, and that we can attend by Zoom if we wish to keep current and watch the art at work.
Of course, it'll be a board meeting like other board meetings,
Right.
and
We'll be noticed and
we'll be notified. Yes.
attend. Okay.
All right. Gil?
Thank you, sir, Mr. President. Oh, first of all, I want to thank you for your presentation to BTAC on this item. It was thorough. And for me, the important piece was that you shared this information with our sister agencies, with everyone, our partners in this watershed. So that was a big deal. And it sounds like my conversations with Wynn that everyone was pretty happy. Also, George Hansen, I want to thank you, sir. Yes, at the meeting on Monday, you talked about at its core that this project, the why, and Paul always asks about the why. It's about water flow and all those things connected to water. So thank you, sir, because that answered I knew it, but that really gave it to me very simply. And when we were talking to our constituents, because there are going to be a lot of questions about what we're doing here, I think that's at its core. So thank you for that. And I want to thank you also, sir. You have from the beginning, you have been in that audience at every meeting, and that where this has been the topic, and have always chimed in, and I appreciate the support. So with that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Jose, you have anything?
I just want to say I'm very excited for this project. What a great opportunity to regionally collaborate with the different agencies that rely on the Santa Ana watershed. I'm very excited about this. Excited about being the appointee board member from San Bernardino Valley. So I look forward to working with everyone on this new JPA.
Okay. Paul?
A question for Leo. Are you aware of the minor changes proposed by Ucaipa Valley?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the other thing I would like to do is just make a comment, reiterating what Mr. Hansen has said. When this came to our attention many years ago, we found out that Edison was going to divest themselves of some resources. That creates a great deal of uncertainty for us and other users of the surface water. And this is a great example of a way to solve that problem and win some other assets as well. So I'd like to thank staff for their diligence and actually their persistence.
All right. Well, you've raised a question, Mr. Keelhold. What is this business about Ucaipa making changes?
Yes.
We received in an email, not for public comment, but an email from the general manager of Ucaipa of a slight non-substantive change to the title of a column within the agreement, which I have shared with our partner agencies and committed that we will bring that to our partners for consideration in a future revision. It is non-substantive, though.
I see our legal counsel nodding, so I'll take that. Thank you, Leo.
It was my recommendation to Heather that we move forward with the JPA agreement as before the board today, since the other boards have already approved it. And to the extent the JPA board would like to make the clarification that was recommended, they can do that at a later date. So we
Okay.
keep the momentum on this.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Are there any other comments or questions? Heather, would you like to say anything?
No, I would also just echo my appreciation for our partners who have been steadfast in understanding the vision behind this and really being committed to, it's been a very long haul, that we've stayed true to our original intent, which was to control the water and not allow those facilities to be purchased by an outside entity who has no vested interest in the water that comes out. Entities, exactly. It could have gone many, many different ways, and only one of them allows us to control the water supply. As certain shareholders in the valley of Bear Valley and Crafton, City of Redlands, East Valley, those agencies specifically have seen over the last few years, especially post Tropical Storm Hillary, and then with the line fire impacts, controlling where the water comes out of the headwaters of the national forest and how it flows through our systems is very important to that reliable surface flow that Adekunle very helpfully pointed out in the previous item is part of our assumed supply. And so when it is not available or not usable by those customers, we have to shift to an alternative supply. And so being able to control those diversions and make sure that we are allowing the surface water to be used to its what I would consider best and highest use is very important, with the additional benefit of making renewable energy that has a market value that we can put out there. So I'm very proud and excited that we've gotten to this place. It's been a long effort, but I appreciate the support of our partners, our staff and their continued efforts, and also, of course, the board for continuing to help us push this boulder uphill. So I can see the top here sometime soon. Thank you.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Leo, for all the work you've done on this. I know this is just a little bit. This is good. I'm sure you're glad to see this coming to culmination. And we also really appreciate the opportunity to have the three partners that we have on this, and your support has been and continues to be very important to us. And we want to make sure that we are good partners. So thank you very much. All right. We have a staff recommendation. What is your pleasure?
Move staff recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Director Longville,
Yes.
Director Velasquez,
Yes.
Vice President Mateo,
Yes.
Director Keelhold,
Yes.
and President Harrison.
Yes,
The motion carries. The staff recommendation for 4.2 is approved.
thank you very much. That is a huge step forward. And I think it's going to be a very positive move on all of our partners and our part. Moving into item 4.3 is consideration of special FERC counsel, Richard Rose Collins of Water and Power Law Group, PC, for the hydroelectric facilities program. This is found on page 249 of your agenda. And are there comments that you'd like to make? Our CEO?
No, I will go ahead and let Leo give his staff report, and then we can go from there.
All right. Leo?
Well, as a great segue of culminating such an important deadline of finalizing our JPA, as our CEO loves to say, or tell us, this is going to be a start line for a lot of other efforts. So a real brief background of where we are with the FERC transfer here. So the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has approved the license transfer on April 23rd, as we all know. One thing I want to point out to make sure to remember is that the licenses is not for all 7 hydro projects, but for 3 of them. That's for SAR 1, SAR 3, and Mill Creek 3. And as we continue to work towards the closing of the APA, towards the end of June, we will be inheriting some obligations that come from the conditions of the FERC approval. So with that, we have been working with a few technical experts in the hydropower industry, and we've been trying to get recommendations from specialized FERC counsel, and that's how we came to meet Water and Power Law Group. So we met with Richard, staff met with Richard, our partner agencies reviewed their material, and Richard has a specialized federal practice, and he's been very active in the FERC world for over 30 years, and he has SCE project-specific experience and over 45 years of licensing settlements experience. Most notably in the Klamath River Dam Removal Project, in which I understand an award was won. So, and just to also kind of highlight a few of the scope and items that we will be working with Richard and his firm, is in some of the obligations that I mentioned. So want to make sure that the transfer order and all the compliance filings are done on time, that the O&M structure is filed with FERC and the regional engineer within FERC, and also start preparing the application, which is very extensive, for the transfer of the facilities from San Bernardino Valley to the SAWA JPA. And also the last thing I'll mention is that we will also start talking about an exemption and relicensing strategy. So one of the things that Edison has been telling us in the last few months is that even though the license expires in 2033, the process is very extensive. There's a lot of studies and a lot of work that needs to be done. They typically take 5 to 6 years. So you want to start around 2027. And so we're going to be after, the priorities of satisfying our FERC conditions, we're going to be strategizing on how to best license our hydro projects, whether it's through exception or with a special license. So with that, I will read the staff recommendation, and that is that the board retain Richard Roos Collins of Water and Power Law Group as a specialized Federal Energy Regulatory Commission counsel to advise the district on regulatory matters associated with the acquisition of the SCE hydro facilities. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Leo. Just for the record, anybody that's listening that doesn't really know for sure, the FERC is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. We use that like we know what it is, but when you're dealing with the federal government, you deal with acronyms. That's all there is to it. I found that out at the airport. My goodness. Thank you, Leo. Appreciate it. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
I have one brief comment. Richard, welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you today and have some conversations with you, the entire board. But I just want to, for the record, I want to say to our 750,000 ratepayers in this valley that they can rest assured that we are selecting an individual who has a myriad of expertise, and that we all can sleep at night, sir, in this as we move to transition to take over these facilities. And I'm just so happy that we were able to find you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Great. Yes, I too am very pleased with bringing Mr. Roos Collins on board with his law firm. I think it's going to be a big help to us and make sure that we're exactly doing things the way they need to be done to keep FERC and everybody else happy. All right. Do we need a motion? We need a motion to go ahead and make the retainer to retain his law firm. What is your pleasure?
I'd be honored to recommend approval of the staff recommendation.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk. Thank you, Leo.
Director Velasquez,
Yes.
Vice President Bateo,
Yes.
Director Keelhold.
Yes.
Director Longville.
Yes.
And President Harrison.
Yes.
The motion carries. The staff recommendation for item 4.3 is approved.
Thank you very much. Yes. Heather?
As Leo was giving that presentation, I had this epiphany about the circular nature of our watershed and the things that happen in this watershed. So when I first moved to California in 2010 and worked for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, one of the very first projects I worked on as a regulatory biologist was the relicensing of the Santa Ana River hydropower facilities that SCE was going through because it was up in 2013. So here we are, and in just a few short years, we're going to start working on the 20-year renewal or other strategy. And it just really illuminated the fact that we have this opportunity to be present in this community of people and also work in this watershed that is so meaningful, even though you have, a journey through a career, that here it is 16 years later, and I'm still working on that project in one shape or form. So it's a privilege to be able to bring this item to you today and to continue working on that in this capacity.
Well, Heather, we appreciate all you've done to help put this together and make sure that this is something that is worth having, because it could have been otherwise. And this, I think, is very, as Jose said, it's very exciting to move into this and to, with our partners, have control of these very important facilities. So thank you very much. All right. Thank you all for your participation in all of this. And we'll move ahead on our agenda to item 5.1, which is our state water project report.
I will be giving a quick update. Michael Plinsky is also attending the graduation of one of his children today. We have several employees out for that same reason. So I'm going to be doing my best to give a quick update on the things that Michael has been working on in Sacramento and just some things that have happened related to the state water project. So first, as you know, these Table A allocation was increased from 30 to 45% in May. And this allows us to fully meet all of the direct delivery orders and also to start on recharge orders. On May 22nd, San Bernardino Valley, along with numerous other sites project participants and supporters, submitted formal comment letters to the State Water Resources Control Board regarding the draft decision and proposed water right for the site's reservoir project. Many of the comments focus primarily on the proposed extraneous delta flow requirements that exceed existing state water project and Central Valley project operational requirements, as well as exceeding the permit conditions that were placed upon the site's project by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and California Department of Fish and Wildlife. The sites team anticipates that the final water right will be issued later this summer. I did include on the dais and out in the lobby a letter that was written by Secretary Crowfoot to the state board, which I thought that the board would like to read to see some of those comments, which are aligned with those things that I just stated. But most importantly, that the state board has a responsibility to consider both the beneficial environmental benefits of the project related to the Prop 1 and the environmental water, the first of its kind in our state, that there would actually be a storage account and water supply dedicated to the environment through this project. But also, again, reiterating that the two regulatory agencies for fisheries and wildlife have both already issued their permits and their requirements, and such that the secretary urges the board to revisit their permit requirements that go above and beyond what the regulatory agency has already issued in their incidental take permits. So I think you guys will enjoy reading that letter. I thought it was a very thoughtful response to the draft water rights. I wanted to also remind the board and thank her for her service that Joanna Gibson continues to support the site project mitigation efforts by serving on the selection panel evaluating consulting firms for the terrestrial compensatory mitigation program. This panel is reviewing qualifications, proposed scope of work, and all the associated costs with our mitigation obligations, which are quite extensive and complex in trying to find the right type of mitigation to offset the impacts of this project. Specifically, we have quite a lot of California oak woodlands that need to be offset, that we also have some golden eagle impacts that need to be offset. So this is not typical mitigation that you can easily go find either a credit through a bank or a property that could adequately offset that. So it's a very complicated and in-depth discussion that they're having. And so we're very fortunate with Joanna's background as a former fish and wildlife regulator that she can contribute to that conversation and make sure that the project chooses the right firm to help us implement that. Wen has also been called back to service for his second assignment with the Sites Project team in terms of reviewing the statement of qualifications, and we will be releasing the request for proposals for a construction manager at risk or a CMAR contractor. If you remember, I think it was about a year ago, Wen participated in a first round of selection, and now this is going on to select a contractor for the project's conveyance, pumping, and hydroelectric facilities. So I think that it's an honor that the Sites Project and the partners want to tap into our staff and their, high degree of expertise in choosing the right contractors. As we know, that is, a big part of success in any project. So we're thankful for their service on that. And for now, that is my completed State Water Project update.
Thank you. Wasn't there a bald eagle there also, in addition to the golden eagle?
There is a bald eagle,
Yeah.
which don't usually co-occur, but it does happen at that location. So we will be looking for opportunities to offset impacts to both of the eagle species.
Great. All right. Any comments or questions? Okay. Let's move on to 5.2, which is the Director's Report of Activities and Travel Requests. Paul, can we start with you and we'll go right down the line?
Sure. On May 27th, I attended the Yucaipa Sustainable Groundwater Management Agency public meeting for individual well owners. And the meeting was well attended. There were 25 people, one of which was a civilian. It was good to see all the agency people. It's not surprising that the public didn't relish the opportunity. Division 5 has a great many more privately owned wells than most other divisions. And they're quite numerous, but the volumes of water involved are actually quite small too. But Sigma requires there to be an effort made to quantify that water. And so you have to ask people if they would be willing to tell you how much water they produce. And all you can do is ask. But it was a good meeting. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Jose.
Yeah. Since our last board meeting on May 25th, I did attend the City of Rialto's Memorial Day community event. It was well attended. It was really nice. And that completes my report.
All right, thank you. Since our last board meeting on the 19th, on the 26th, I attended the Highland Chamber of Commerce meeting in addition to our Wages and Benefits meeting that day. And then on the 28th, I attended the board meeting of the National HCP Coalition. And yesterday was BTAC. So that's all I have. Gil.
I'm confused though. I don't think we had a first meeting, right? So I'm gonna report out from 5-6. We had a webinar. I had attended a webinar, Connecting Solutions for Water Resiliency. 5-8 was another webinar, Drought, Disaster, and Decision Making. Can a crisis be averted on the Colorado River?
You didn't report those on the 19th?
I don't think so.
I think we did. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's okay.
Anyway, 5-13 webinar, Prop 4, maximizing Prop 4 with data and information systems. 5-14, a webinar, how California is working to prevent forest fires. 5-15, another webinar, USGS tree ring histories and wildfires. And then on 5-27, a webinar, data, it was a data for lunch, co-creating the water future that we deserve. And then Paul, I wanted to, at SAPA, we got a report a couple of meetings ago on I'm sorry. On Prop 4 funding, that's grant funding that's coming, it's $10 billion. And there's $350 million earmarked for Sigma, including helping the groups that are together, I'm talking about UKIPA now. Any findings that the state agency identified in their report to the Sigma, you can use and apply for money. And we're going to be doing that through OWOW to look at how, in this case, I remember from UKIPA, there were some issues with the private pumpers, and they didn't really trust government. They didn't want to pay for, some of the upgrades. So those things are going to be available for funding during this Prop 4, and that funding is coming out in 27. So I just wanted to put that on your radar because I know you attend those meetings. I haven't had the chance to attend those for a while, but that funding is going to be incredible, and that's just one bucket of money. Thank you, sir.
All right. Susan.
Since our last board meeting on May 19th, I attended on Zoom the West Valley Water District meeting on May 21st. On May 22nd, I attended a webinar put on by Cal State Sacramento on adapting to hotter, drier water future from a Northern California perspective, which pretty much mirrored what we're doing down here. On the May 27th, I attended Climate Center Coffee on phasing out polluting fuels with Woody Hastings. It's excellent. And on June the 1st, I attended the BTAC meeting. That's all I have to report.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now it's our lengthy general counsel report.
We won't have one today, Mr. President.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Item 5.4, any ad hoc or standing committee reports? Anyone? No? All right.
I'd like to make a comment.
Oh, okay.
I attended what will probably be the last meeting of PA 23, which is the Santa Ana Conjunctive Use Project. When I joined the board 11 and a half years ago, this was the first project that I became familiar with, and it's been a heavy lift. But today we talked about it closing out. It won't make it at the end of this year, but in the beginning of next year. And that the conjunctive use benefits achieved, 4 of the 5 SAPA agencies participated. Eastern did not. The Orange County Basin has deposited 2,000 acre feet in their portion of the Sarcup Bank. Chino Basin has, Western Water in Chino Basin has deposited 2,084 acre feet in their portion of the Sarcup storage. And that up to this point, no water has been extracted from the Sarcup. As you all know, there are, besides the water use bank, the water conservation element of estimated savings has been completed, 400 acre feet per year of estimated savings, and that 83,000 customers were served or educated. And then, of course, our portion of the project, the riparian stream habitat. And we saw that excellent presentation last time that actually showed us on the ground what we did on those 745 acres and 2.8 miles of native fish stream habitat. And so we probably won't even have to have a last meeting. We schedule them every 4 times a year, but usually cancel them. But we can if we want, but this was the last really action to be taken. And apparently yesterday, the state did visit the sucker habitat, and they were impressed. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Moving on to our SAPA meeting reports.
Actually, it was pretty, we had 3 meetings today. So Susan just gave the PA 23 committee meeting update. So thank you for that, Director Longville. And the SAPA Commission also met today, June 2nd at 9:30 this morning, and the commission adopted resolution number 2026-3 to recognize Peter Vitt for his contributions and service to SAPA. He's an IT guy, and he's been with SAPA for like 28 years. And it was the first time I had met him. And and he gave a report too. He gave a report in a collaboration on Orundo with ESRI. And I was just blown away. It was just great.
Right.
And it's just, sad that we have to lose him. It was an excellent report. The commission authorized the re-release of the request for proposal RFP for the cloud-based financial software and implementation services to replace the current Microsoft Dynamics Great Plains system software. The commission also approved the posting of Brown Act meeting videos on SAPA's website for the current year and continue the practice going forward. Just the Brown Act meetings, not the task force, just our, I think it was great for transparency and was a request from the public. And then finally, the commission received, we had a receive and file on the Orundo assessment in the Santa Ana River watershed, and that's the one I referred to, the watershed case study with ESRI. And before I turn PA 24 committee report over to our president, I just wanted to say, it just hit me that I don't give wow updates, but I'm going to this time real quick because $10 billion is coming to Prop 4. And we're going to share that. We're going to, hopefully regionally, we're going to go after those grant fundings from the upper watershed all the way to OC San. And all that sausage making, as Heather would call it, will happen at OWEL. And we will form our alliances and our regional grant funding proposals at OWEL. So that's why I'm really on top of this stuff. I think because it's exciting that there's going to be so many millions and millions and millions of dollars. And one of the priorities are underserved communities. So that's going to be to our advantage. And the one thing that I would request, Heather, is I know staff is busy. They're crazy busy. All of us are. But it would be great if we could identify at least one staff member to attend those meetings. So that they're up on what's going on, because the funding is coming in 27, and I think it's going to come very quickly. And we're just preparing ourselves to join forces with our partners in the watershed and go after as much of that funding as possible. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, PA 24 met today, and we recommended to the SAPA Commission the various rates for the Inland Empire brine line. We received a substantial increase in fees from the Orange County Flood Control District. They had some particular items that had to be upgraded. And so it's an 11% increase from them, which is one of the highest. We're usually in anywhere from 3 to 6%. But I did inquire, and it probably will not raise the price of your hamburger at In-N-Out. I just want to make sure that you understood that. The other item that we did was the committee received and filed information report on the brine line service contracts. These are the contracts that are with the organizations that are ready to respond whenever we have any kind of a spill or an accident, and also when we're doing various testing. And that's all we have for PA 24. We'll move on to future business. Is there any requests for future business from our board? No? All right. Announcements. Madam Clerk, do you have any comments on the announcements?
Go ahead and do the
Appointments?
announcement, and then I have an announcement after that.
Mr. President and members of the board, I would like to provide the announcements for the month of June. For this month, we will hold all regularly scheduled board meetings, which will allow us to meet again here on Thursday. I would also like to highlight that the agency will be closed on June 19th due to a federal holiday. Also, on June 25th, we do have a Board of Directors special meeting for the general fund budget workshop scheduled at 2 p.m. Pending any questions from the board, that will close out my announcements.
Great. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I did have one announcement to make.
Yes, ma'am.
It is with sadness, but also happiness, mixed feelings that I would like to announce that Mr. Mike Esker has told us that he is planning to retire on July 15th. So we wish him well. He has 27 and a half years of service to this agency. And you can look around and see places that he has built infrastructure everywhere. So we're very proud of him and all of his accomplishments, and we're very thankful to him for all the work that he has done on our behalf. And we do hope that we will have a celebration of his career at some point in the future, probably over the summer. And we are going to kind of work our way through July 15th and then make a plan of how we will fill that position. But right now, we're just trying to celebrate Mike and his career and his decision to retire. So thank you.
I am so sorry to hear that. I mean, he deserves it. The kind of service he has given to this organization is incomparable. And he's such a great guy to work with. I wish that we as board members could have worked with him more closely, but we certainly did see and were the beneficiaries of the incredible work that he has done for this organization. And if there's anybody that deserves a wonderful retirement, it's him. He has given so much. My goodness, that just really is sad. I'm
But happy as well that he can
happy
spend time
for
with
him.
his family, including
very
his
happy
newborn
for him
granddaughter.
that he can do that. So thank you. There being no closed session at the end of the day, today, we are adjourned. 3:38.